Welcome to Ideas to Implementation, the podcast for women who have a business idea but feel stuck in a job. Featuring real women with real stories of how they went from employee to boss. My guest today is business owner and entrepreneur Helen Pollock. Hi, Helen. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Simone. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Not a problem. Tell us about yourself and what you do. What's your business?
So I am a non-fiction and business book coach, and I also am a ghostwriter of those books as well. So I help people to write great business and non-fiction books.
Brilliant. In a nutshell, love it. And how did you get into that? I mean, what were you doing before you started that business?
So my career prior to that was mostly marketing and PR, and particularly PR. So although I'd had sort of head of marketing positions, actually I mostly specialised in PR, so writing for a living. And that was how I got the opportunity. One of my PR clients asked me if I would consider writing his second book for him because he didn't have time. And I said, yeah, I'd love to. And I really enjoyed it. And so that, the rest is history. That was about 2 years ago.
Wow.
And I continued in that vein and niched down into books.
Okay. And so have you written any of your own books then, or was it just ghostwriting that you do?
Not yet, Simone.
Right, it's on its way.
Watch this space.
Brilliant. No, that's good. So I take it, so you said you had a client and he asked you to write his second book and you did that and it just blossomed from there. I mean, what gave you the confidence to say, okay, I'm just going to go out on my own now?
I knew I was a really good writer. And if you think about it, so PR writing is often things like features and articles. And so, if a 1,000-word article that for PR is not actually massively dissimilar to if we're writing a non-fiction book. And say, the average non-fiction book is 30 to 50,000 words. Well, if we have 10 chapters, including, an introduction, a conclusion, and 8 chapters in the middle, then that's 10 chapters of 3,000 to 5,000 words. Mm. Anything you write really is structured in a similar way. So there's an introduction, there's a conclusion, and there's paragraphs in the middle where you tell the story you want to tell. So really moving from writing articles and white papers and case studies to writing chapters of a business or non-fiction book wasn't that much of a stretch.
That's true. So it's kind of like a no-brainer.
It was a no-brainer, yeah. It was really just like, an extended version. Each chapter of a book was like an extended version, and then obviously the overall book, an extended version of a feature, really.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. And how have you found growing the business? I mean, is there a great big market? I would assume there is. And how have you found like getting your name out there, getting clients? How's that been?
So it's funny, isn't it? Because when my daughter was born, and she's 8.5 now, I didn't want to go back to my corporate job, and I knew I wanted to have my own business, but I actually took a bit of a 5-year detour and taught. I set up a business that taught Mandarin Chinese to children. I'm not really a Mandarin speaker. I have some very basic Mandarin, but I employ people who did. But that always felt hard.
Okay.
Marketing, it felt hard. And ultimately there wasn't enough, effectively meat in the sandwich between parents and schools and teachers for me to be in the middle and make enough profit. But, I spent 5 years on that. I learnt so much. And then when I wound that business up and set up my own PR consultancy, which was, I think, the end of 2017.
Okay.
And then in the sort of new year of 2018, I was offered this chance to ghostwrite a book. As soon as I started work my own PR consultancy, and then I niched down even further into writing books and helping people to write books. It felt so right, and it was much easier. It was far easier to market this business. And really, I've only been... So I came up with my brand name, which is the Content Doc. It was only about the middle of last year. So probably like June last year, July last year. And so it's only really been about... It was about, I don't know, 3 to 6 months until I started seeing some serious traction on the I committed to showing up consistently and with my ideal customer avatar in mind on one social media channel, and doing that well. And that for me is LinkedIn. So I overhauled my LinkedIn profile in June last year to reflect what I was now doing, which was writing books, business books for people, or helping them to do that themselves. Immediately, just from updating my profile, people were, prospects started getting in touch.
Yeah.
And then I knew I wanted to create videos on LinkedIn. And it took me 3 months to pluck up the courage to actually do the first one. I was like, oh, what about trolls?
But
do you know what? I did the first one in September, and I think, like most people, immediately it was like, what was I worried about?
Exactly.
What was I worried about? So I put at least one video a week out on LinkedIn. And I often will reuse them after a month or something. I'll put them back out again. Because the LinkedIn algorithm means that many people who haven't, most people won't have seen it.
Exactly, that's it.
So you might, you're not going to annoy anyone by putting that out again.
And I like.
So that was really, I've post on LinkedIn every day, 5 days a week, 7 if I can sort of be bothered and manage it.
Yeah.
Just once a day. And I put out 10 to 15 connection requests to people who meet my ideal customer avatar every day.
Right.
And that is really bearing fruit.
That's brilliant. And I like what you said at the beginning when you said you show up consistently on one platform. How important, because there are so many social media platforms, and maybe there's an idea sometimes for, well, you've got to be on every one. So you don't subscribe to that, obviously.
No. Do you know what? The shortest way to do social media badly is to take a scattergun approach, not find out where your ideal client is.
Right.
And actually create... So if you do that, then you create far too much work for yourself. You're not tailoring the content correctly for the channel. It all becomes too overwhelming.
Yeah.
And people then don't do it. So choose one channel, nail it, and then, once you've got that going, and perhaps you can outsource some of that management, which is something that I'm going to be looking at probably this week now because I'm so busy, then think about adding in another channel.
Yeah.
But nail it. Choose one, nail it. Do the old Pareto principle, 80-20. So I do have a Facebook page for my business, but I'll put my videos and content up on there, I don't know, every couple of weeks.
Okay. So you maintain, but the key thing, your clients are on LinkedIn, and that's what's working for you. That's brilliant. And I also wanted to pull out, you said there about, you started one business, so teaching Mandarin to children. It was difficult to market. Maybe it didn't work as well as you were expecting, and you pivoted and went to PR. How easy was it to accept, okay, this isn't working, let me try something else? Tell us a little bit, because there could be women listening, watching, who have an idea, or they've started and maybe it wasn't working. And it can be discouraging, I guess. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so it's interesting, isn't it? I don't know if, I keep hearing this expression, pause, pivot, persevere. And how at different points in your business, you'll need to make those decisions. Do I pause?
Yeah.
I stop and do something else? Do I pivot? So do I change tack? Or do I persevere? And crikey, that was a question. That was something that I asked myself many times.
Yeah.
And what I did do was I pivoted. So initially, when I set up that business, I thought, okay, this is primary school after school club Chinese. That's what this is. First prospect that got in touch with me, secondary school wanting in curriculum time lessons.
Okay.
It was like, okay, we can do that. And actually we have more secondary school clients than primary school clients.
Right.
Then I wanted to create some sort of digital offering so that it didn't matter where people were in the world, schools and parents, if they wanted to access primary Mandarin lessons, they could do it online, cost effectively, with a brilliant teacher through us. So that was, in latter years, that was what I concentrated on, but I just couldn't get enough subscriptions. So, I mean, I think maybe if I'd have had a bigger advertising budget, maybe if I'd spent quite a lot of money on Facebook ads, I think I might have got somewhere. But fundamentally, I made several pivots along the way. I persevered too, but ultimately I needed to pause and just do something else. I tweaked that business model every which way, but it all ended up to the same thing. There wasn't enough demand.
I like that, because sometimes we just have to accept that and move in a different direction. I know that, pause, pivot, persevere. Wow. So obviously the ghostwriting business is now going and going well. So what would you say is the hardest thing about running your own business, and where do you go for support?
I think often it's because if you're a solopreneur and it literally is just you, I think it can just feel a bit overwhelming sometimes, and I sometimes find that I question my own decisions, and sometimes it's just really great I've got a good network of business friends who I get in touch with and have a good old chat with. So I'm lucky that one of my best friends from university is also an entrepreneur. So she particularly, she's the MD of Bamboo, which is a bamboo toilet paper subscription service.
Right.
And they're fab. They're doing really well in this lockdown period.
Could imagine.
But she is a great person to ask, or just be my sounding board.
Yeah, because that's important, isn't it? I always say entrepreneurship, business, it can be a lonely road to a degree, because like you said, you've got to make all the decisions, etc. So it's important to have people that understand that network. That's massively important, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think, employed friends, they often just don't get it. And they don't, and particularly if, when you've recently set up a business, or even later on, if that business isn't doing quite as well as you'd hoped, I think, you know, my employed friends in the past have been like, well, why don't you just go and get a job?
Yeah.
They don't get it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, because I know that I want to be able to work flexibly around my family. B, I'm sick of working for silly people. And which is just, it's a horrible situation to be in. And C, I became quite interested, and still am, in building wealth through assets.
Right.
And as an employee, it's going to be much harder for you to do that than if you own your own business.
Wow. So that's it. And what I'm hearing there is your why. You have the importance of knowing your why, because business entrepreneurship brings its own challenges, obstacles, what have you. But once you know your why, it's that resilience, isn't it? And sticking with it on days maybe where you want to give up.
You know what? I never wanted to be the mum that is consumed by guilt. Well, I say mum, parent, you know. Mums or dads, I think, can often do suffer from this feeling. I don't ever want to be the parent who is asking me to video their child at sports day.
Right.
Because for the second or third year in a row, they can't get the time off work.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the parent whose child is at breakfast club and after school club 5 days a week, who, you know, only really gets to spend quality time with that child at the weekend.
Right.
So I never wanted that for our family, and that is such a powerful driver for me. And I don't judge anyone who has to do that, because that friend of mine who asked me to video her child, she's a widow. You know, she's a single mother and a widow. She has no choice but to work full time. So I don't judge anyone for that. But for me, it was a really strong driver.
Yeah.
But also, you know, I want a better life for my family. And when I say my family, I don't even just mean my nuclear family. I mean, you know, my children's children and my children's children's children. I want to build a legacy, and I want my family to be able to live comfortably, not worry about money, but also be able to do good.
Right.
And for me, that's you know, money is options. And if I could go back and speak to like 11-year-old me, I would say, the one of the biggest things I would say in terms of, you know, career and money is money is important. Money gives you options.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, we can sometimes, I think it might be a bit of an English thing, be brought up to think that, you know, money as a subject is distasteful.
Yeah.
You know, we don't really talk about money. It's just something that we kind of need. But actually, I think we do need to talk about money, and we need to talk about money with our children for sure, and say, you know, if you have got a chronic condition, like if you need a knee replacement or a hip replacement, and it's causing you loads of pain, well, if you can't afford to go private, you might have to wait for 1.5 years in agony to get that done on the NHS. If you have enough money, money gives you options.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but also, yeah, I'm a really firm believer in doing good with my work and just in life in general. So I'm particularly keen to help women to tell their stories, because women are underrepresented in business books. And I think women struggle a bit more with confidence, and so I want to help them to have the confidence to tell their amazing stories, to help other people and to inspire other people, and perhaps other women in particular. But I also want my children to have the financial resources to be able to make a difference in a way that's meaningful to them as well.
Brilliant.
So,
the importance of your why. I think that's amazing. That be your driving force. 'Cause, like we said, that's what's going to keep you at it on days when maybe it's very hard. So I love that. So lastly, Helen, just has 3 pieces of advice for a woman that's, like I said, listening, watching, who has an idea, business idea, and maybe has lacked the confidence to go for it, or just for whatever reason hasn't gone for it so far. 3 pieces of advice.
I think number 1, take action.
Yeah.
Do it. If my story tells you anything, it's that it doesn't have to be perfect, the idea. Just because we start something, that doesn't mean it's set in stone in that form forever.
That's it.
And it can be all too easy to, for your fear to manifest itself as procrastination.
Yeah.
So, just take action, just start doing something and learn along the way. Think, regularly, do a little audit. Do I pause, pivot, or persevere?
Yeah.
But take action. So that's number 1, take action.
Yeah.
Number 2 is probably, nothing will ever be perfect. And, my other half is a perfectionist.
Okay.
But, if it's 80%, it's probably okay. So the other stuff is, if you're thinking of doing something like setting up an online course, you need to try and sell that first.
Right.
Try and sell it first. If people buy, you can immediately create it, and it wouldn't actually take you that long to create the resources if you're, say, drip feeding them out on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
So sell first. So first piece of advice, number 1, take action. Number 2, sales before anything else.
Right.
Because if your business isn't making money, it's a hobby.
Right.
Harsh but true. And thirdly, and this is a recent one which really resonated with me, there's a lady called Jackie Jagger. I think she's a sales trainer, and I haven't actually done any work with her, but a mutual business contact told me that she'd said these very wise words: you can't be a success and a secret.
Wow. Yeah. Big.
And I was like, for years, that was what I was doing. And I'm a professional marketer but still my lack of confidence, I had a lack of confidence about putting myself out there. But you know what? That is why I'm now, I've got a waiting list for ghostwriting. I've still got capacity for some book coaching clients, but I've got a waiting list for ghostwriting for several months ahead. And it's all because I chose my 1 social media channel. I put myself out there consistently. I gave value.
Yeah.
And that's why my business is now successful, because I realised I couldn't be a secret if I wanted to be a success. So
love that. Yeah, and that's really important because sometimes it's that lack of confidence to put yourself out there, especially with social media, the fear of judgment. But it's a case of, if you want to be successful, you've got to get over it and do it. Put yourself out there. And I say this all the time to clients: not everyone's going to like you. That's okay. But you're not trying to sell to everybody. You're trying to get to your ideal client. So love that. Thank you so much, Helen, for your time. How do people get in touch with you? Your contact details?
So the best place really is probably LinkedIn. So it's LinkedIn. It's Helen Pollock, Pollock. My business is actually called The Content Doc. So that's www.thecontentdoc.com. And finally, I'd be very happy to share a link with you for your listeners to download. It's a free ebook called I Just Don't Know Where to Start. And I've written that with aspiring authors in mind who are like, I really want to write a book, but I just don't know where to start. So
yeah, brilliant.
Hopefully that will be helpful.
Yeah, definitely. We'll put those details, the links and everything. So once again, thank you so much, Helen, for your time, for just sharing such great advice and wisdom. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, take care.
Take care. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Ideas to Implementation. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time.